welcome to Psyched, a conference where we explore psychedelics through social, economic, and political perspectives. Today we're joined by Dyer. Dyer is a Peruvian artist living in Canada and traveling the world half of his time. He experiences different cultures and then re-expresses them into his own oneness visions. He serves as a bridge builder between different art movements from skateboard graphics, visionary paintings, street art murals, and more. He wants to break boxes and see everything as one optimistic reality. Though his subject matters are as varied as his styles, his art is just a reflection of his personal spiritual journey. Chris, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Psyched.
Thanks, Merrick. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, man. How about yourself? How are you doing?
Good. Just starting out here. It's a chilly morning, but it's all blessings.
Definitely, man. Wonderful. Well, I would love for you to just kick us off, telling us a little bit more about your art style, and then we'll get a little bit deeper. But could you just describe your art in a couple sentences?
That's a tricky one. A couple sentences. I guess like what I'm trying to attempt with my art is just to express myself at any given moment. Trying to put into visions feelings or thoughts or concepts that I might have inside. So basically bringing something that doesn't exist on the visual plane and bring it into the physical plane and make it visual. And hopefully that represents what's inside me, and also hopefully that's something that creates a feeling that's similar to the feeling that I have inside about the thing I'm trying to express.
I think that your art style is, even in your bio, you describe it as optimistic, this optimistic reality. Using art as part of your personal healing journey, do you feel like your art allows for you to always tend positive, tend towards gratitude? And do you feel like that is something that you're looking to bring to your audience as well?
Yeah, well, I honor the negative side as much as the positive side, because in this physical plane, it's all about duality, and God wants to learn about all sides of the spectrum through us. But I find that in this current period of the human voyage, there seems to be more emphasis on the negative side.
Mm-hmm.
So it is my nature to try to bring balance by focusing on the positive. Not that a lot of people think that because you want to focus on one side of anything, you're against the other side. That's very classic for humans these days. Like, oh, he likes this, so he must hate the other. So I'm not hating on negativity as much as I'd rather not experience it too much. But when it does happen, you kind of like try to cruise through it with honor and dignity and learn from the lessons. But yeah, in general, I've always been like a positive kid. When things are hard, if I can hold on to the idea that there will be a positive future, both for myself and for the human collective, it kind of makes it easier to know that things will get better. Like, it's nicer to watch Star Wars knowing that, there will be like that party in the forest of Endor with the Ewoks.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I try to stay positive, and I definitely try to pass on positivity while at the same time honoring the moments of negativity and expressing whatever I must at any given time.
You also have a very distinct art style, especially in the visionary art movement. Do you ever feel like, is it more freeing to yourself, or is it more limiting sometimes? Like, what has been your ability to express yourself through an art style that is so distinct and specific?
Yeah, art styles, it's an interesting thing, because it's like your voice. Like, you don't choose your voice, you just have it. When you sing, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm gonna sing this way. You just kind of like do it and flow. Like, when you're flowing, what comes out is what comes out. And I guess my art style is something that I've been developing and continues to be developed for decades. It's been something that I find like my art style is like a combination of many things. So my life is just like a hunt of finding these puzzle pieces or finding these words. Like, if we go back to verbal communication as an example, I might go on a trip, I might have an experience, and then I find a new word that ends in a painting, and it's like, oh, I just capture this little, whatever, eye or swiggle or combination of colors, and oh, that worked, so I might bring it back in the next one. So I've done that like many times, and I found all my elements, my color combinations, the things that work. I got like a nice bunch of ingredients. So if I want to do anything at all, I can use those. And I don't know if it's liberating, it's just what I do. I like to be able to express myself through my style. And it's a reflection of my insights once again. But I think, and you're asking me if it imprisons me or if it limits me. I don't think so, because I can choose to not use my style at any point I want. I've done many paintings that are not your classic Chris Dyer style, and sometimes people like it more. Sometimes people think like maybe it's not as cool as my usual style. But I'm not really necessarily doing whatever I do for others. I'm doing it for me. Right now, for example, I'm in Oregon in Mount Hood painting murals for a client. So of course I'm going to give him what he wants. So I know what he wants is maybe like something closer to my usual flavor, but maybe in the topics that he is looking for. So like, for example, this guy's a biker, so I made a creature that has wheels, and he's a Grateful Dead dude, so I give him the bolt, and then I go around and I feel his energy, and then I re-express it through the filter of my art machine. But when I'm painting my own canvases, like sometimes I go totally different style just to even break my own comfort and security. If it comes out as an amazing painting or not, it doesn't really matter, because I'm not really making my canvases as a product for sale. Like, hey, here's the new painting, buy it. If somebody buys it, cool, I pay bills. I guess that's a human thing to do. But that's not why I'm painting, at least my canvases. And I've totally broken my style a few times. I got a few new styles I've developed. Like there's the spray painting drip style, where I just fucking make a mess on a canvas with a bunch of spray paint drips, and then I draw on it with a pen, and then I shade it with acrylic. And that's a totally different, darker style, and that fits a different mood of exploration, or maybe even darkness that I need to explore sometimes. So yeah, I don't know. I think art styles are beautiful. It's definitely good to have your own voice, because I don't want to look like anybody else, and I don't want anybody else to look like me. I think uniqueness and individuality is what really makes an artist interesting to any crowd. But yeah, it's all blessings. In conclusion.
Yeah, beautiful. I'd love to hear a little bit more about how your voice might intersect with other artists. Are you someone who enjoys doing collaborations with other artists? What does that process of collaborating with artists look like?
I like collaborating artists who are my friends. And not that I don't like collaborating with people who are not my friends, but the vibe's different, I love collaborating. I love having fun. I'm a really slow painter. Like on canvas, I'm super slow. It'll take me weeks to months to finish a piece. It's easier to collaborate on spray paint, and those you can do in an afternoon and see what happens. And if it comes out cool, if it doesn't matter, because it's so quick, and that's the vibe of street art. Canvas, you need more planning. You need like sketches to see how they will mix together, see the approach. And as I said, like if it's with a person who's like my real friend, and I'm vibing with them way before we did the art piece, and then we do an art piece that reflects our love for one another, our vibration, that we resonate, then that painting comes out sick. And then other times, and I avoid it. A lot of people ask me to do collaborations, and I'm like, hey, I don't know you, so let's wait till we meet, and let's see how we vibe when we meet, and then we see if we want to combine our energies together. It's almost like having sex on a different level.
Yeah.
And I always prefer it when it's in person, when we're both jamming it at the same time, at least at the beginning. When, like, for example, right now I got a couple collabos in my studio in Montreal waiting for me, that are the pieces that the artist did, that they sent to me, and I gotta kind of like finish it off. and they're just kind of waiting there. I'm very busy, and I wish I could do it all, but because I wasn't involved in the birthing process, there's less of a engagement with that piece till I actually do it.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, um, I
Yeah.
enjoy collaborations. I prefer to do it when it's with buddies instead of people that I'm just getting to know.
Artistic inspiration comes from so many different places. It can come from difficult times, positive moments, and you've touched a little bit on that. Are there very specific life experiences that drive you, and you experience something specifically, and you're like, okay, now it's time to work? And then on the opposite side, are there specific life experiences that really slow you down, make it much more difficult to create?
Yeah. Um, I'm always doing some degree of art. It's like art's my lifesaver in the ocean of this turbulent world we're in it. So when I'm happy, I want to do art to reflect my happiness and expand the happiness.
Hmm.
When I'm sad, I need to paint in order to not drown in my sadness and just observe it. There's never a point where I'm like, okay, now I gotta get to work because I'm always working. It's my nature. I will paint or draw every day. It's just like breathing to me. It's what I was born to do. But what I will be painting changes depending on the mood. Definitely, as I said before, I'm trying to reflect the emotions that I'm feeling inside onto a canvas when it comes to like, studio work. Um, and yeah, sometimes it's very like for example, right now I'm working on a painting reflecting on some shitty events that happened to me last month involving my shaman and a former student that just totally crushed my heart. And I'm doing a painting about it, but it's a painting that I could not share with the public. It's a painting just for me as a process of healing and digestion of the situation, a way to communicate my insights to my outsides, and as a record of my personal history down the line. But I think if I shared that like on Instagram, like it would trigger a lot of people and it would worry other people. And yeah,
Hmm.
not all my art's done for others. And as I said before, all my art's done for myself, firstly, and then secondarily, I'm able to share it and make a living from it. But art's always been like my medicine, even before it became my career or whatever. So yeah, it will always be there for me, no matter what. Even if I end up just being a farmer in Peru with nothing going on for myself, I'll always do art, and that will be a source of happiness for me, regardless if anybody sees it or if it gets sold. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Have you ever created something that it was difficult for you to look back on? That like when you saw it, you felt like really either negative emotions or repulsion for some reason from what you had created.
Yeah, there's this painting I did in Vienna a couple years ago. I was going through a heartbreak,
Hmm.
and it was one of those times where like, okay, this is the month for shadow work.
Hmm.
I was depressed about like, breaking up with my girlfriend. I was teaching at the Visionary Art Academy in Vienna, Austria, which is a dark, vibrationally city, but it was also the beginning of winter, so it was cold. The people were unfriendly. It's just gray. Usually I love my students, and I did like my students there, but basically the students who go to the Vienna Academy, they go with a different intention and wants than a student that goes to a full-on Chris Dyer workshop.
Hmm.
The students who go to my workshops are like, they get attracted to my art. So they're very sweet, happy, positive, bubbly little crystal children. And I love my workshops for that because I just get surrounded by different reflections of me at different stages of evolution.
Hmm.
Vienna was different. They get attracted there for like maybe like the niche technique or something more in the realms of realism. So when I come through with my, street art, psychedelic, skateboard funk, it might not be the flavor they signed up for. So there was less of a connection with the students. So, but anyways, there was a lot of things that made it that I went through a hard uh, month there, and I painted it, and out came out this monster that's throwing up, and his guts are spilling out, and it's not an ugly painting. I think it's a gorgeous painting, and a lot of people enjoy it, especially because it's raw, and people appreciate when you're like putting your heart out there on that for everybody to see and be like, holy shit, Chris feels bad today, huh?
Yeah.
And I remember painting that canvas, like fucking almost hitting it with a brush, like, motherfucker, why
Yeah.
you treat me with disrespect? So, but I don't want that hanging in my apartment, in my home. Right now, it's stored in Miami, and I'm gonna ship it to LA for a show I'm having there this summer. So he might make an appearance in my life soon.
Hmm.
But he's great, you know. Like just because I like or the painting I'm doing right now, I don't want to put that shit on the wall and be reminded of the bad times I had. But you gotta do these things too. Once again, this is medicine of self-reflection, and this shit gotta come out. You know, it's like an ayahuasca ceremony. You gotta throw up, dude, and it's not pretty, it's not enjoyable, but when it comes out, you're a little bit cleaner from it.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's beautiful. I'd love to learn a little bit more. I think last year we talked a bit about your interaction and work with ayahuasca. I'd love to hear a little bit more about your interaction with psychedelics during your work or in the processing and evolution of your work. Do you ever take psychedelics while you're painting or afterwards to really be able to process things? What does that interaction look like?
Contrary to popular belief, I don't do a ton of drugs or psychedelics or plant medicines constantly. I'm
Hmm.
super respectful towards these interdimensional portals and entities that somehow got themselves inside these inside nature, and when I feel the time is correct for me to enter that vibration and communicate and heal from those substances, then I do it. And I don't think I ever have like done any of those things thinking like, all right, I'm gonna do aya or mushrooms to get my next idea for my next painting. Like,
Hmm.
I'm not. That's not my mission, and I honor the ones who, want to be psychonauts and explore other dimensions and do make a painting about it to teach humanity about what exists out there. That's super cool, and sometimes, because I've been on the other side of reality enough, you know, I start remembering what I see sometimes, and then I draw it because it's fucking beautiful and like really mind blowing. So then sometimes you do feel like you gotta paint it. So sometimes I feel like, painting the things that I learn on the other side of reality. But in general, once again, for me, psychedelics or plant medicine is about my personal healing, and then the reflection of my feelings on onto a visual dimension. So it's all flavored in psychedelic. But even before I did psychedelics, I was painting psychedelic. As a kid, like I grew up in the '80s. Everything was so like colorful and trippy, and but yeah, I'm not doing drugs every day. That's for sure.
Hmm.
I'm not
Definitely.
crazy. I really respect my chemical balance. I will know when I'm doing it too much, and then I'll take breaks and integrate and really try to make the most out of the journey, not just use it as, I don't know, as if it, you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, as someone who has that healthy relationship with plant medicines, something that we've seen over these last 12 months is there's been so many more psychedelic retreats that have opened up. And what we've seen is there's more psychedelic retreats that are using psychedelics to inspire artistic expression and giving people paints and canvases and things like that. What are some of the things that you think retreat centers should keep in mind to be able to make sure that the safest container possible is being created and people are developing good relationships with plant medicines and also good relationships with the art that they're creating?
So I've been offering my retreat, Healing Visions, in the jungle of Peru for 7 years. It's really hard for me to talk about this because, for all this time, I'd be like, this is how we do it at my retreat, and it's super awesome and it's super safe. And look, in the 7 years I did this retreat, nothing bad ever went on. It was just like people coming in feeling bummed out, us doing Aya 3 times at nighttime, lots of ceremonies, temazcales, river, baño de plantas, cambo, healing every day. Lots of conversations because we're all like going through our shit, but we go in like in a intention of honesty and non-judgment. And I'm always trying to set the tone. Like, I'm not a shaman or anything. I'm just the art teacher, but I'm also like, you know, an elder to these people who come through. So I'm always trying to like make everybody feel super comfortable. And by the end of the retreat, people just leave with huge smiles on their faces. They come out with a nice painting. It's just so beautiful and great. And now you're asking me, what's the safe container? I thought I had a safe container, and now, as you may know or not, it was exposed that my shaman, who was, my shaman for the last bunch of years, who was, at this retreat, was doing unethical sexual things outside, of the retreat time and space. Like, months later, he would like hit up the students and flirt and shit that I don't even understand nor I want to talk about, because none of my business, and I wish maybe be doing things like that. But but yeah, it fucked it up for me. It ruined the soup. I don't understand. Like, I'm not a super sexual dude that goes out there and has to hunt every chick that he sees. That's not my vibe to start with. And I would love to think that people who work with any kind of medicine, especially ayahuasca, would be so purified that the idea of hurting anybody who's in a vulnerable situation would be so whack and obvious that you just don't fucking do it. But it seems to be a big situation in the shamanic community, especially since this thing came out. I'd be like, wow, there's like a lot of this that happens. So I'm like, why is that? And I'm like, is it that these shamans are so astrally open from doing almost daily ceremonies that maybe some dark entity has entered their vessel and made a home in maybe a space that has not been healed completely? Maybe they got like a trauma in their solar plexus or their sacral chakra, and they haven't really dealt with it. Even if the heart's fully open and the third eye is fully open, the crown chakra is fully open, but if they got some kind of dark crevice in there in the lower chakras, maybe something dark can nest in there and maybe influence the actions of the person. I don't know. I'm just trying to understand it myself. And right now I find myself without a shaman, without a retreat center, without my workshops. It's a sad thing for me, because it was the thing that made me the happiest in my life, when students would come and they would leave there with open hearts and healing. And I have faith and optimism that I will get back on that path eventually when the time is right, with the right people in the right place. But as to answer your question, what to do to create a safe vessel, I don't know, man. I tried my best. I thought I had a safe vessel, and you never know when things are not the way you think. I guess I gotta just learn to be a distrustful person who will think that everybody's bad. I don't know. That was never my vibe. But I was always watchful. I actually looked at my shaman for 7 years before I even worked with him. So it's not like I just jumped in with the first guy that I met. So really, I'm in total confusion, disbelief, and shock that this happened. And I'm just trustful of the Most High Jah that he will put me on the right path eventually, so I can continue my work of not healing, but creating a bridge between healing and the people who need it, which is my main intention, more than doing paintings. Cool, I do paintings, people like them, maybe it brings some happiness to people. That's all cool, I guess, like, great. But more than that, if I can bring true healing to anybody's life, that makes my life so much more purposeful and meaningful than anything else. because that's what we're up to. We're here learning, growing, and healing, and art's a part of that. But definitely, plant medicines has such a great power, and it's helped me so much in my life that I would love to be the bridge once again, or facilitator to a positive experience. So yeah, that's my intention.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. A lot of the language that you use when you speak is super spiritual, super religious in nature. I'd love to hear a little bit more about how religion, spirituality intersects with your personal life, with the art that you create. How do you see it? How do you see religion and spirituality connecting to yourself in the world?
Religion and spirituality and language. All right, I'm going to start with the language. When I speak in my particular vocabulary, I know that I open myself up to criticism because it might not be the same vocabulary that somebody else might have. Or they might have already some kind of filter or judgment or tint towards the words that I use. For example, I was just talking about lower chakras. And if you're a person who study at things, you know that the chakra system is something that's been understood by many cultures for thousands of years. But if you're just like some dude who's just heard it from some, woo-woo yoga class or something, some comedy on TV, when I'm talking about chakras, they might laugh at me, be like, haha, chakras, what the fuck's that? What an idiot that he would believe that. So really, I just speak how I need to speak in the truth according to my personal beliefs. And then whatever people make out of it, that's up to them, because we'll all hear different things no matter what I say. And I honor that too, and I let that be. I am that I am, and vice versa. Now, when it comes to religion and spirituality, religion is another word that has been tinted and that we all have filters towards, because a lot of bad things have come out of religion. So, for example, our friend Alex Gray and Cosm, he has a religion. And some people might be like, whoa, what the fuck, In my mind, religion is this negative thing, Don't kids get raped in religions, or hasn't been these inquisitions and people punished if you're not in the right religion? Seems like religion has just become the institution and the dogma. Though the true meaning of the word religion is the relinking of the oversoul, God, with the soul that's inside me, which is also God, but it's kind of like a split off or a fractalization. And our goal as a human is to try to get closer to the source of that creation. So that's the true meaning and goal of religion. And it starts pure. It starts with like a prophet or somebody who was in touch with the source, who's trying to help us get back home. But then humans are a bunch of idiots, and we just create all this physical stuff, all this dualistic matter, superficial shit around it, say that some things good, some things are bad, and condemn the other ones who are not like us. Once again, we're all pick a team and we become cheerleaders. If you're with me, you're against that other person, and it's all this bullshit. So that's why religion has kind of like lost its luster, especially in the modern day, where if you really want your soul to be reconnected with the oversoul, with God, it seems like going about it in a spiritual kind of way is, it's less limiting. Because say, like, I consider myself a spiritual person, but if you ask me what's my religion, I grew up a Christian, I meditated in a Buddhist kind of way, I follow the path of shamanism, I'll read the books from any prophet without thinking that I'm cheating on my prophet. Like, it's, once again, like, if you choose a religion, you kind of got to stick to it. I want to learn from everybody. And I want to see what I resonate with one prophet, when I don't resonate with the other one, and find my personal truth. And I think that's what people mean when they say they're spiritual. But then once again, in this very cynic day and age where everybody criticizes each other, you'll say like, oh, I'm spiritual, and people will find ways to, break you down for that too. So at the end of the day, let's just say we're just souls experiencing the physical plane, and we're trying to figure it out and do our best to know what to do and how to do it. But from what I understand, I'm here to learn, to grow, and to go back to source. And if I can bring any of my brothers and sisters with me back to source, or at least one step closer to source, then I've done my job. And yeah, either way, at the end of the video game, we all just go back to eternal and infinite bliss. So we're already there. It's just where I'm at right now, time and space, I'm still living it, which is fun. You know, I made this for myself to experience and to go through all the experiences I'm going through me and through every other human being. And that's a beautiful thing, you know, because
Yeah.
when we were like God absolute, we're just kind of like, we knew it all, but we needed to experience it. So here we are, you know, cold morning in Mount Hood, Oregon, warming up, having an interview. It's all blessings.
Yeah, definitely, man. In the ebb and flow of the work that you create, of kind of your personal inspirations, have there been periods in your life that you feel like have been the most positive for, or just the most aligned, I guess, between yourself and how you were feeling and how you were expressing and communicating your artistic visions? And I guess what was going on in your life at those times where you felt most aligned?
Never seems to last too long. It's like you'll get a good month where you're like, yeah, now I made it, now I'm happy, and now I'm gonna be happy for the rest of my life. And then something happens the next month where you're just like, I'm back in the dirt. Why can't I just stay up all the time? Don't we all just want to be happy forever? I don't know. There's ups and downs every year. I can't really say there was one period that was the period where I was happy. I've been married, I've been divorced, I've had relationships. I guess a period I always enjoy is when you start going out with a girl that you like and eventually love. That freshness of a relationship has a really nice vibe to it. Unfortunately, it always seems like eventually things cool down and they even end. You know, in my case, it's always ended, making me question, like, will I ever find the one that, you know, I'll stay with forever? Anyways, I'm getting into relationship stuff instead of art. But the reason why I bring that up is, like, when I'm in that vibe of like stokedness for life because I found my love to reflect myself in, I'd say the paintings that I do have like a really nice, happy energy to them. Thing is, as I told you, my paintings take months, so maybe by the end of the painting I'm sick of the girl.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, I guess that's why I like street art and murals, because I can blast this in I blasted this in, I don't know, like 2 days. And it was a
Wow.
really fun time, you know. And now they put these skateboard ramps, and we're skating in front of it. I'm in this property where like the owner's just like, paint anywhere you want for a week. So I'm just like painting, and it's really fun. It's a good time. I'm not getting as much sleep, but it's all good. So yeah, I'd say I'm just trying to stay in the now and make the most out of it and find the positivity and the good vibes in the moment I am right now. Instead of thinking that maybe in some future I'll be happy, or maybe in some past I really was happy. I just want to try to be as happy as I can right now. That's my goal.
Yeah. Well, as we wind down, just a couple more questions. One of them is, are there artists that are on your radar that you feel like aren't getting the attention that they deserve, they should be platformed, and you'd like to highlight some folks?
Artists that deserve more exposure. I think like every artist is getting their exposure these days. Like back in the day, there were artists where I'm like, whoa, have you guys seen Randall Roberts? For years, I was like, guys, have you seen this guy Randall Roberts out in New York? He's fucking killing it, but nobody knows him. And he's so visionary, yet he's got like a pop vibe. I was telling all my friends, and they're like, yeah, we'll see him when we see him. And eventually he went to festivals and he made his name, and now he's like a, you know, house brand name or whatever in the visionary scene at least. But I'd say even artists who are just coming up, who even haven't even developed their style or even gotten their technique down that well, even they are famous these days thanks to social media. Um, why they're famous. I don't want to say like, or because it would sound like a judgment sometimes, like
Uh-huh.
how we get famous or not. Is it based because of the art or the things that go around the art, or the maybe the personal beauty of the person or their little quirks, or I don't know. But I think everybody has been able to get some exposure, and if somebody's undeniably good, people will see their work.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I guess like in this whole NFT era, I'm
Hmm.
starting to tune into more animators, more art that's more in motion. So that's interesting. And there's always like cool stuff that pops up on Instagram. I was at my friend Sebastian Wall's the other night in New York, and he was showing me this artist. I can never remember names, but there was this one artist that all his art is made out of dollar bills.
Mm.
So he'll just chop up a dollar bill and use it as collage pieces to do unlimited amount of things, and it's really cool and interesting how many things he can do with a dollar bill.
Yeah.
So that was interesting and cool for me. But yeah, I think if an artist is good, they're probably well known these days, because with social media, we're all tuning into each other. And I can't really think somebody who I'm like, that guy's so sick, but he has no followers, because I think, you know, if they're sick, they probably have enough followers to make a living.
And the last question for you is, do you have any words of wisdom for the crowd? Anything that you want folks to take away from either the talk today, or you just want to send people off into the world with?
Well, it seems like we're in a period of humanity where a lot of things are being transformed. A lot of dark, dense, old school vibes are being transmuted into the new code of light and love. And it doesn't look that way, because in order for this to be transmuted, we have to fucking stick our head right in the shit. And it does not feel good. Right now, our head's right in a big pile of shit. But it's the only way to deal with it, because if we don't deal with the shit that we've been drowning in for the last fucking forever, we're not gonna repair it. It's almost like we gotta get so sick of the shit that it's just like, enough, okay, we're ready to be a good humanity. And we're figuring it out, you know. As I said before, tons of divisions. People pick a team and they go against the other team. That's fucking pointless and useless. No team's ever gonna win that way. We're all gonna lose. We gotta unite. We gotta find oneness. We gotta realize that we're all the same being, fractalized into different beings, and that whatever harm you do to others, you're doing to yourself, and whatever good you do to others, you also do to yourself. I hope that we will reach that conclusion soon enough. I know a lot of people are waking up to this higher truth. It's not about being woke or like, oh, I'm more conscious than you, and I know like what's the right thing to do according to the peers or the, you know, societal ethical. It's about living from the heart and honesty and truth. And even if you make mistakes, if it's coming from authentic intentions of love, those mistakes are okay, because it's part of your journey to learn what should come out of love. And that's okay. Like, it's the only way to learn is through mistakes. And we shouldn't allow the cancel cultures to like fucking throw everybody in the garbage just because they've made mistakes on their road to finding what is love, because we're all will do mistakes. We can't be living in a world of guilt and shame and, you know, once again, division and teams and who's right and who's wrong and this politician or that politician. Fuck all politicians. They're all wrong. I hope the aliens come soon and they, you know, show the true nature of the people in power, not only the politicians, but the people in control of them, and all the fucking shitty things they do to us as humanity. I would love to think that humanity will truly wake up to realize that and make a change, though I wouldn't really even know the solution to, you know, removing these negative individuals in the top of the control of the world we live in. That's why I always like say, like, I can't wait for the aliens to come, because once all the spaceships are in the air and we all realize that we're not alone in this universe, I hope that will connect us all in one realization, you know. Like, imagine if like one day maybe later this year, all these spaceships are up in the sky. Not in one place where somebody took a video and people were like, ooh, that looks cool. But like every sky. And
Yeah.
we all assign are just like, holy shit, it's true. We're not alone in the universe. What does that mean? But everybody, that 7 billion people all think it at the same time. That would connect us inside. That would shift our consciousness and kick us into one layer higher to where we're at, because all of a sudden we opened up our mind to understand that we're more than just a bunch of smart animals that evolved to fucking consume everything and then die. There's just, it opens up so much in the same way as Corona opened us up so much, because all of a sudden we're at home meditating and figuring out who the fuck am I without my job, without my friends, without my superficial showing off at the bar or whatever sport or activities I do. Well, who am I without all that stuff? A lot of people had to figure that one out. And that's important. The more we understand who we are, the more we can become the higher version of ourselves. So I guess to wrap up this super long last words of wisdom, I'd say be patient with yourself in your process. Be compassionate to yourself. Be compassionate to others too. Never judge the process of others. Don't judge your process neither. Your process is your process, and forgive yourself at every moment for any mistakes you've done and for the mistakes of others, and move forward and try again and keep on being a better person after it. We will all eventually go back to source. It might take lifetimes. It's all fun. You know, it's all the virtual reality video game that we've chosen to live. So let's make the most out of it. Let's try to bring a lot of happiness to as many people as we can. And and go back to love eventually. So thank you so much for giving me this space to talk and share my truth. Let's all work towards that.
Yeah. Chris, thank you so much. Always a pleasure chatting and having you on.
Yeah, my pleasure, brother.
And to our audience, we'll see you next time on Psyched.